This is the Milky Way, and here is our solar system. This is where you probably live unless you're an alien, and if so, hello and welcome to the internet. And this is a guide to most of the solar system. Here is the sun, a giant ball of fire sitting in the sky, and it gives us light and warmth. It's about 500 billion years old, and in another 5 billion years it will probably swell up and kill us all. It also makes up 90% of all the matter in the universe, and that's not an overstatement, which technically means I've covered the majority of the solar system, and I can stop there. It's not clickbait anymore. Goodbye. Mercury is the first planet from the Sun and is also the smallest. It has a little bit of atmosphere but no moons, and it has a surface temperature hotter than a car seat belt in summer. The surface is flat and rocky and a bit like our own moon, and is basically a floating cue ball in space. Then next door is Mercury's neighbour Venus. Venus is considered Earth's evil twin because although Venus is similar to Earth in size, surface pressure and levels of gravity, its atmosphere is so toxic, probes landing on the surface usually stop working after about 90 minutes. If the weather wasn't so terrible, then maybe humans could easily live on it, as it only takes 110 days to get there. Next along the list we have Earth, which is where you live, and your dogs, and your postman, and Elon Musk, and Reddit, and India, and is the only planet where you can live on without not living. So far. Then orbiting the Earth is the Moon, which is a big grey rock in the sky and has no atmosphere, so you can't breathe on it, but it might make a cheap holiday resort in the future. In 1969, some people went to it, they put a flag on it, and then came home, despite what Gary Smith says on his Facebook page. The next planet is Mars, which is a lot smaller than Earth, but it's our best shot at living in space after we've destroyed our own planet. Mars is known as the Red Planet, or the Dead Planet, because the surface is red and there is very little atmosphere. Fun fact, sunsets on Mars are blue. Mars has two moons, Phobos and Deimos, which aren't really moons, but just asteroids that got stuck in its orbit. Then we have an asteroid belt with numerous dwarf planets that you've never heard of. Then we arrive at Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. It's quite big and covered in storms that could destroy the Earth 6 times over, and it has 67 moons, but we'll only talk about 3 here. To begin with, Ganymede. This moon has a surface gravity of 0.15 g, which is exactly the minimum amount that humans need to stand up on. We have Io, which looks like airline food and was the first place in the solar system observed to have a volcanic eruption other than Earth. Finally, Europa, which is covered in ice, but underneath that ice may actually be living things in an ocean. After Jupiter comes Saturn, aka the ringed planet. Saturn is also big and also made of gas and also has many moons, none of which we will cover here, and in my opinion it is probably the most beautiful planet in the solar system. Up next is this planet, with a very rude sounding name, so I won't say it. This planet is covered in ice and gas, probably because it has a surface temperature of minus 197.2 degrees Celsius. For those of you on the impractical system, that's minus 322 degrees Fahrenheit. Neptune is the furthest planet from the Sun, named after the god of the sea, probably because of its blue texture, and despite being bigger than Earth, has a surface gravity of 0.8 g, which is actually pretty close to normal levels. Finally, we have another asteroid belt, home to some dwarf planets. You've probably heard of one. It's called Pluto, and it isn't a planet anymore. Just get over it, for fuck.